Okay. Should I say the good morning, good afternoon, good evening? No, not really, because we finished the game just a couple minutes ago. That kind of sums it up. Even the credits were short, too. I mean, I enjoyed the game, so let's just get that out of the way, but yeah, I can't say good morning because I would say, you know what, let's wing it. So, welcome back to Wick Hex. This is not a walkthrough. This is not a playthrough. This is the verdict video. You know, one of these days I'm going to subvert my expectations and just do some original tagline or something for my verdict videos. But until then, I'm winging it. Alright, and the final score for Wick Hex, and luckily we beat this game before it pretty much got removed from PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. I guess pretty much it depends on the time zone. 8 out of 10 is what I'm trying to say for Wick Hex. You guys might be surprised. By all accounts, this game should have probably earned a 6 or 7 in my book. But no, I will actually say why it's an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Even I'm pleasantly surprised. Because there were actually there were some things that I could have docked it for a 6 or a 7 when I really think about it. But I'm going to give it respectively 8 out of 10. I know I probably said that 4 times, so let's get to the negative. The negative is the story. It is actually abysmal. It's forgettable. It's not even great. They had the character Hex, who should pretty much open the doors for, because this is a prequel before John Wick's wife died in the first film. They have potential to kind of make Hex kind of be sympathetic or just a villain that was memorable, like the John Wick film series, especially the Marquis from Chapter 4. He was actually a memorable villain, played very well by, is his name Bill Skarsgård? I hope I got that right. Well, anyway, yes, I will talk about the positive, but the negative is in terms of like we didn't really get to learn anything new about the John Wick characters that we haven't learned for the film series, so that was actually pretty disappointing. And the actual villain Hex, that's pretty much what he was. He was just kind of like the villain to the end goal villain to get there, and his boss fight was pretty whack. Just getting to him was arduous and hard, which that will be in my positive. But the actual Hex boss battle, that his name is in the freaking title that I mentioned in my last video, it's weak sauce. His boss fight is the weakest. But when you really think about it, you can melee any boss character and then shoot him a bunch of times. So wouldn't that mean the boss characters are kind of whack? But I excuse the other bosses, I excuse them because they were actually challenging. And you wouldn't know to melee them until you get to Hex's daughter. But the whole kind of like their setup was great. Their setup, I will admit, was good. But I'm not excusing the main boss battle because Hex boss battle was pretty freaking whack. It ended in less than 2 minutes. It's so easy. It's just too easy. After the arduous journey to get to him, that kind of it made me very disappointed. But yeah, the story was just crap from to begin with. I knew it was not going to be a great story by the time we got to it, and that's kind of sums it up. I mean, they clearly didn't have the budget to tell a great story, not like the film series. It's just, but the film series story wasn't the great to begin with either. But it's freaking, it's entertaining. It's so entertaining. So that's one of the negatives. A minor nitpick, I will admit, there were some performance issues that I can't ignore. Like some of the enemies glitched out, and even though I can ignore it, it was that some of the it did freeze a few times. Not like a lot, but yeah, it did freeze a little bit. That I have to admit the performance issues was kind of glaring. Not like too bad, but you did notice it. I was trying to think of any other nitpicks that I had with John Wicks besides the Hex boss battle and some of the performance issues, and the story was pretty much not even. I mean, if you, I would even recommend to watch the John Wick film series than play the game. I would say give the game a try, but mostly focus on the film series. You will not. It's not even. Even if you beat the game, the game is not really necessary to understand John Wick. I think the first film does a perfect way to sum up his origin story and explain the mythos of John Wick. Playing John Wick Hex, you really won't get to know anything that you didn't know before. So it's kind of even the setup. Like this was a time before Helen. I was like, oh, okay, so we'll actually learn some pretty what how he earned the title of Baba Yaga. May get a more in-depth origin story that we kind of got explained in the third movie, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. So those are my negatives. Kind of actually surprised because I feel like I should have came up with a lot of other negatives, but no, that's pretty much it. All right, so the positive that kind of gives it and elevates it why I gave it an 8 out of 10 in the first place. It was the gameplay. So the hexagon moving and kind of like playing your meticulous detail, it's really all in the gameplay, was perfect. I enjoy the gameplay to an immense amount. It was basically a real-time strategy, but it reminded me of XCOM, but with John Wick freaking cool action. I liked it. I really enjoyed the gameplay. I like playing my moves to a meticulous detail, but in a John Wick spin. So whenever we stop time or and I learned it kind of like just halfway through the game, crouching makes you a better shot. Pretty much using a shotgun is instant kill. You can melee your character and then shoot another character, but just the fact that you can stop time and you can plan your move every time and then watch it in replay was just so damn satisfying. I was actually impressed with the gameplay of what they did with the gameplay. Very much so. And I like that. I just like that meticulous attention to detail because that is classic John Wick that I've seen all four films. I just like that. I really like the real-time strategy and John Wick's spin. It just made the gameplay engaging. And if they do other games like that, let's just say, like, I think Hitman Go has it and Lara Croft, I don't know. But the hexagon gameplay in terms of that, I kind of want it with other properties too. It doesn't have to be John Wick for future games, but if we did something like RPG related, I would be okay with that. Especially if it's a game that's kind of like hexagon RPGs. Like let's do it for Wild Arms. I feel like it would work for Wild Arms. I think they already done it with Wild Arms 4, but it was really perfect in John Wick Hex. That's what kept me going back, was definitely that. Yeah, there was also, as you went to further levels, then the game got more challenging. I also appreciate that. That's gonna be another positive. The game was appropriately challenging, and it made you so damn satisfied getting through the levels. Because watching the replays of just how you were able to pretty much be like John Wick or Baba Yaga, having to navigate through levels, and then just using your resources, your innovation, your thinking skills, and your pretty much attention to detail. It worked so well. I liked that the game was pretty much hard. It was really hard, and I got salty, but the game was fair, and it did teach you all the mechanics at the beginning. I think it's a great tutorial, and I did like how challenging it was, especially towards the end, too. So when I was dying, it was pretty much my fault, and I actually appreciate that the game kept me coming back because it was appropriately challenging, but fair. So basically, you have to learn pretty quick how to crouch and learn the gameplay mechanics very fast. But once you pretty much are in your Baba Yaga mode, or basically Baba Yaga goes beast mode, it's so satisfying to watch it in replay. I cannot tell you how satisfying it is to finish each level and you know you're on your last ammo and then you throw the gun or you do a takedown. It's so satisfying. I can't believe this further video is gonna take more than 10 minutes, but I'm getting to the point. So that's one of the positives. It was challenging but fair, and the gameplay was pretty much pitch perfect, surprisingly, for this type of genre. It won't be everyone's cup of tea. I know that for a fact. Another positive was the locales. I'm not crazy about the comic book style, but I think it works for this type of game. But the locales were actually pretty fantastic. It's not the same place. It just feels like everything is distinctive, and it feels like part of like what you know from John Wick, that they have distinctive, diverse locales. We were in Chinatown. We were in some actually a nightclub. We were actually at the bank. We went to a snowy area, kind of like I don't know where that was set in, but just the fact that the it actually heightens and adds to the gameplay locales because you're just going to different locales, but it's a gameplay experimentation. You don't know where the enemy is going to show up, but you're using your environment to it. You're pretty much played stealth a few times, which actually probably surprised me too. But it's just the fact that it's just a great gameplay experimentation with the locales that adds to the gameplay that makes it more fun because you don't know where the enemies are, but they don't know where you're gonna be, and then you just can plan it your moves in a very satisfying way. And then watching a replay of the locales too. The locales actually pleasantly surprised me. Enough said. And I'm trying to think of like one last positive that I can't ignore too. It was actually the music. I don't think it was the best music, but I think it was basically decent music. It was, well, pretty much composed by Austin Wintory. Austin Wintory is pretty much awesome. I think the music was not the best, not like No Straight Roads, but I think it was pretty decent, especially when it got to the nightclub scene and the later levels too. It felt like classic John Wick with the kind of techno, but kind of like assassination. Like this is the music you were hitting. It kind of surprised me. I actually did actually enjoy the music. I think it was pretty decent. But yeah, I think it was kind of like a headbanger. I'm not gonna be in my rush to download John Wick Hex's soundtrack, but yeah, I think the soundtrack was pretty decent. I think it had some pretty great beats for the levels, and I think it really is a great motivator in terms of watching the replay. And I'm trying to think of any other thing. Oh yeah, I have to say, even though the characters, I really like Winston and Lance Reddick's character, God bless his soul, but I think the voice acting was actually top notch, along with the writing. That was actually another pleasant surprise. Yeah, having Troy Baker play Hex, the main villain, it worked very well. I really like Troy Baker as because of his previous work, but having Troy Baker as Hex, even though I think Hex boss fight was weak, I think the dialogue they gave Hex and the guy or Troy Baker played Hex was a great move. He was one of the highlights. Even though we don't get a lot of Ian McShane and Lance Reddick, even though we don't get them a lot, sadly, I think the lines they were given, and I like that it was consistent with the John Wick film series. I enjoyed their voice acting. It is so sad that Lance Reddick has passed away. But I appreciate hearing Lance Reddick for the short time that we got in this game. Yeah, I think he was a standout Ian McShane. Even though they're not given a lot to do, I do appreciate that John Wick Hex acknowledged the fans that pretty much Ian McShane and Lance Reddick are in there. I think that's a highlight. But I will admit, having Troy Baker as the main villain, it did pretty solid in terms of voice acting. That was kind of another reason. I was like, the dialogue is classic John Wick, and it felt like it too. It matched the film series in terms of its writing and the voice acting. It was a welcome surprise. Very surprised. So, yeah. So, if I had to still say, I still give it an 8 out of 10. I know this was not going to be. If you don't enjoy real time strategy or hexagon gameplay like this is not going to be for you. And it's going to be challenging, especially when you get to I have to say, the third level and onward. That's pretty much sums it up. So, let me tell you what's going to be on the next agenda. So, I think we're going to go ahead and do a marathon on the I, possibly J, and possibly the K section. And I think that's going to be pretty much going until Monday. Well, okay, let me change it up. So I think the focus is going to be on the marathon of games. So possibly the I, the J, and the K section, and we'll try to go as far as we can with the marathon of games because one week we are going to do just a marathon of alphabetical order, just one video per letter. So let's just say I'm feeling just like how about the H section, or wait, I already got done with the H section. Let's just say I get as far as the K section. We'll stop it there, or we'll go a little further. One week, we're just gonna dedicate to just finish out the from K all the way through Z, and then I'll explain why I did the alphabetical orders and let you know what's gonna be the schedule from pretty much the Friday and Sunday that I used to do before. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna try to do the marathon of games, like I was saying. Primarily focus on I, possibly do J, and then K, and I'm gonna try to do L, but I know L is gonna have a lot of games. But it depends on how far we get on that. For Monday, it depends. It depends on what we're gonna do. Either we're gonna do Elden Ring all that week, or we're gonna do Returnal. I kind of want to do Returnal. So maybe next week, that Monday, we're gonna do Returnal, but Tuesday we're gonna focus on the new games like that are coming on PlayStation Plus Extra Premium. It might not be like a lot of new games. Like I will do Far Cry 6 because I'm trying to finish up Far Cry 3. But we're gonna focus on the new games, just do 2 videos like we do before. And after that, it's gonna be just focused on Returnal because I actually finished one of the major Marvel Spider-Man games, so I have a little bit of like open flexibility. So we're gonna focus on Returnal next week. We're gonna do Marvel's Miles Morales because Spider-Man 2 got announced on October 20th. I want to do Miles Morales, and then that week after we're gonna do Horizon Frozen Wilds because I want to finish it so we can start officially Forbidden West. I want to play Forbidden West. It's been a while. Well, no, I haven't played Forbidden West. I want to play Forbidden West. I got to. So yeah, that's coming up for the upcoming weeks. But if we finish Miles Morales faster, then we'll do Elden Ring the rest of the week. So that's pretty much the schedule. Of course, leave a like, comment, or subscribe if you enjoyed this birthday video. And also, you can definitely let me know what games you guys think I should be playing for the upcoming weeks. If there is a game that interests you in terms of my playlist, like, hey, we're going to continue that, I will say, you know what? If any other subscribers or return viewers are like, we want to see more Spider-Man, I was like, okay. Or we want to see this, then yeah, definitely leave a comment of a game that you would recommend that I give a try, just so we can get the views and subscribers. Well, anyway, yeah, and stay tuned.